That's what the mind can't accept. That there's a space that the mind cannot know. Because everything we're doing with a sense that we know things. And we have a sense of direction. That's what it's in. We have a sense of a philosophy. We have a sense of an idea of non-duality. And we have a concept about it that we try to fit into. Like, I'm going to know it. And the mind can't conceive that if it doesn't know it, then I wouldn't exist at all. This is what kind of you're getting at, right? You know that there's a realization, and you know conceptually that you're not going to go out of existence. But how am I going to be in existence if I don't know it? Because everything I do is through the mind which knows things. It's a dilemma, isn't it?
Can the mind ever accept that it doesn't know?
It does, but then it dies. That's the end of it. That's the end of it. Not that there's no thoughts, but you know for a fact that, as Geshe says, the key is not in the room. You know that the key is either in the room or it's out the room. And you know that you've looked in every single position in the room. Like you've stripped the walls, you stripped the mirror. It's not findable in the room. At that point, you stop looking. It's a realization that what you're looking for cannot be found there. And it's a realization that the mind cannot know it. And when in the mind, it's fully realized, you stop using it to know. And then you start observing it. Yeah, so then you're observing the mind and the thoughts. And you know that it cannot. And then it's like, so then that's the practice of observing everything that arises and just recognizing that's not it. That's not consciousness, it's a form. But you can just watch. And then again, that's many years of just watching.
Is it in some senses, realization is not even that great a word, it's more like it's almost like a surrender and acceptance that I just can't do it.
Mm-hmm. So it's like we have it all the time, and you even had it on this retreat, right? Where you surrendered, stopping trying to quench the mind. And it's the relief is like incredible. Like the energy release is like, you have like kind of God experience, right? It's just like Satori. You just stop. And this is what happened to Osho, this is what happened to Buddha. Just trying and trying and trying and trying and trying and trying. And then it's like Buddha said, I couldn't do any more. So if you still, there might be a feeling that I'm going to do more, and it's like if I give up, then I'll get it. Then you're doing more. You know, it's an absolute, concrete understanding. Nothing more can be done. And when that understanding comes in, nothing more can be done. You awaken. Because then you stop using the mind. They're like really kind of important, but if you think, I'm going to stop, then you're doing something. So okay, it's just like another trick of the mind. So when you hear that, but it's the same with Osho. He just said, that's it. I can't do anything more. It's an impossibility. And then, so he said, I think he might have had a beer. But then that night, So that's why it's good to think, it's good to philosophize, because many people, again, the ego the ego just can't stand the fact that it's not enlightened. Right? As I said, that someone else is and you're not, it just can't stand the fact that it's just not good. So it takes whatever knowledge you have and you just feel that you're getting it. You just can't stand it. So studying is the way to exhaust the mind. Because if you say, I don't need to study, or I don't need to do this, that's a trick of the ego. Yeah. Because if you're still seeking, then you're still using the mind. So philosophizing, talking, it's making that conclusion that just by saying I don't need to use the mind, or I know that the mind can't get there, you realize that's not going to cut it. So you go into the mind completely. Yeah. And think of every single possible avenue of how truth could be found, and in what single way it can be done. And when you've investigated every single possibility,